Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am presently working on a design team call from Deb at ARTZOLOGY here on YouTube. She's got a design team call for using her printables and stuff from her Etsy store. I'll put the link to the call in the description box so you guys know what I'm talking about, and if you're interested you can go give it a shot. So what I'm working on, I'm going to try to make a garden journal for my yard or for wherever I go, and it's just to document what I do in my yard, when I go berry picking, all that kind of stuff. And I think this was called, just getting the papers, Botanicals from Deb's Etsy store. They're gorgeous. Look at these. So I've printed them all off, the whole set. And I'm going to use this in my journal. They're just beautiful. Just simply stunning sketches and photos. And so this is going to be my starting off point, these sketches. So I took this first one here, this yellow one, and I want to use that for my cover. But before I can get started on my cover, I got this book from Michael's, and it's a recollections journal, and it just came like, here, I'll pull this out. It just came like this, and it has photo things, I guess, if you want to put some pictures in it, photo corners. It just came like this. It was kind of all beat up. It was the only one on the shelf, and it also wasn't bound. It was all, this was all apart, so I used some E6000 and bound it. So the first page is a little bit tight, if you can see, but that's okay. We can work with this. So I'm just going to pop this in. And I'm going to paint the whole book with white gesso, and I've prepped my button. I've covered the whole thing with Scotch tape so that it doesn't get too much gesso. I don't usually care if things get splattered in paints and things like that. It just adds to the whimsy of the whole thing. And then I want to use they're by Prima, and it's a rust effect paste, and there's 3 of them. There's this dark brown, this rusty one, and then this kind of golden one. So I'm going to play around with this and see what happens, okay, with this book. So first I'm going to cover it all with gesso, though. That's going to be my base, and yeah, I think this will be kind of fun. So just take a paintbrush and cover the whole puppy up with gesso. So I decided after I did the white gesso, and I put the string in a baggie because I really kind of want to leave it in its natural, string state, the jute state. I decided after I did the gesso, you can see I am doing the next part, which is I want to call Baby Poo Gold. This is exactly the color of newborn baby poo. Good thing it doesn't smell like it. It's funny, I'm noticing that this paint, or whatever this is, this substance is crackling, which is awesome because I want this to look like an old book that I'm going to take outside and get beat up and it's all rusted and everything. So that's why I'm doing it in these colors. So I'm going to just heat it up and see what happens, because I have a feeling this has a bit of a crackle effect, and that is very cool. So I'll keep going. So I'm going to go from light to dark. So the next one is this color. It's called Red Rust. This one is called, it doesn't have a name on the bottom, Gold Rust. And this one is called, can you believe it? Brown Rust. So yeah, and I wish you could feel it. It's very kind of gritty, I guess. It's kind of neat. This is a great substance for a journal that's going outside. It's almost like it's making the cover even more tougher, and I'm sure if I cover all this with gel medium or Mod Podge, it will be very protected. So we're going to go ahead with this rust one and see what happens. Here we go with some of this. And I am not going to cover the whole thing in the orange because I want some of that yellow golden to seep through. So it's supposed to, when you finished all three of them, supposed to look like rust. So we'll see what happens. So here we go with the brown rust, and I'm going to try it on the magazine, kind of the edges and the spine. It's looking kind of cool, actually. It is giving it a rusty look, and it feels like it's rusted. I just don't want it to be too brown, but I can always take sandpaper and sand it off. Okay, so can you see how this looks? Look at this. It looks just like rust. And it's got, I wish you could see the dimension of it. It's like it's not flat. It's like crumbly. You can see the crumbles all over here. It is really cool stuff. So this is the Finnabar by Prima, and it's the rust effect, and the kit comes with all three colors, because obviously if you're going to rust stuff, it's got to be all the same. Now, after I have done said rusting, I'm just going to have a look at my picture that I want to put on here. I'm just going to gently lay it on here. Now, it is not rusted, but I'm going to trim it a little bit, and I'm going to add some other elements to the page. So there's this and this, just a whole bunch of flowers and a stamp and more flowers, and just to add some dimension to it. And then I found in my Tim Holtz notes, not notes, Tim Holtz cardboard things, this says field notes. This is perfect. This is my field. I don't know where I'll put it. Probably over here or up here or up like that. Field notes. These are my notes I'm going to use for my garden. And I love field notes. That's just perfect. So what I'm going to do with this stuff, most of it is going to get gessoed, and then the flowers and the metal bits and this are going to get rusted. If not completely, somewhat. Okay? So to tie it all together. So I'm going to have to move my book aside and my picture. And I think all I'm going to do with the picture is take Distress ink and put it around the edges before I adhere it down to this cover. So I want to leave a bit of a little edge around without losing my flowers. Okay? That looks really nifty. Fun. So that's the front of the book. Yeah. Without anything on it. And just, you could just do that and put field notes on this and cover it with some kind of either Mod Podge or something, because it's going outside. I just love it. And I still ended up getting some gesso on the insides, but oh well. Yeah. Very neat. Looks totally nothing like the book it was when I first purchased it. So I'm going to carry on and go on with my embellies. And I'm going to do the exact same thing on some of them. For sure on this metal flower, which is also a Finnabar flower. These white flowers and these little green ones. I might, let me see, there is some green in there. I might leave some of the green peeking through. I'm going to leave the stamp green except with some gesso. I'll do that later. And this cardboard's going to be done as well. And this little piece of tag that just literally tore off a package, I'm just going to leave that way like that, except with a little bit of gesso. So I'm going to get busy fixing up these little embellishments, doing the exact same process that I did with the book cover. So you can see right over here the embellishments, and what I ended up doing is I'm using 2 metal flowers and that little green flower, still tiny bit of green showing through, and this was a corrugated cardboard which now looks like rusty metal, which is awesome. And then these things here I just gessoed a little bit. I forgot to do this, but I can do it right now with my finger. And then I am going to distress up the field notes a little bit, just so that they, have that same, everything echoes the same way. So there is that. And then, whoopsie, I will take a nail file, and I'm just going to rough up this field notes all the way around on both of them. And then I'm going to get my Distress ink. I think there's a rusty one in there. I think that will be the best color to use with this. See, can you see how I kind of rubbed it out a bit? And then notes. And then I have one other thing I want to do with my field notes, which is kind of cool. Okay, I have a big container of tea bags somewhere that are all rinsed and whatever, but I literally just had a cup of tea. So this one is a little bit wet, and I don't want to use the hot gun because you see it kind of makes it go all raggedy, and burns a hole through it. So what I am going to do is use, whoopsie, this glue right here that's pouring out of the container. I do not need much. And on the notes, this glue is from the Dollar Tree, and it's fantastic. And I'm just going to lay a little bit of tea bag over it to give it some, you know what I mean, some je ne sais quoi, like a little bit of aging. Even that little bit of gesso that just got on from my thumb, that's okay, as long as we can still read field notes. Leave it over there because my hands are gross. And then we'll catch this field before this glue dries. So it's just a tea bag, and I literally went upstairs and cut it open, emptied the contents, rinsed it a little bit. Not too much because you don't want the tea part to come off. And there we have our field notes. How did I miss glue on that little corner right there? I hope you guys are seeing what I'm doing. I'm sorry. There. So I'm just going to let that dry, and then I will trim around the field notes. Just adds a little bit more. So I figured rusty hinge was the best complement to that rust. So I edged all of the things that did not get rusted with rusty hinge. All these little bits, even the field notes that's covered in the tea bag. It got edged with that, as did our cover piece. And to echo the water reaction marks that are on the page already, I'm just going to add a little bit of water because I love the way water reacts to Distress ink. And so it will just repeat the same print underneath. It's not going to lose anything. It's just going to react again, just like the water spots that were under there. So we're going to let that dry, and then we're going to put all this together and see how it looks. I can already see the reaction marks. They look so neat. Okay, I cleaned up my surface a little bit here, and I'm just going to go ahead and start building our covers. So I place those there because I kind of want them there. Just going to use a glue stick to glue them on. And I really like when you do your placement first, and then it just makes it for an easier, you know, put it all together first in your head and then lay it out. And it just makes for an easier assemblage. So I put that torn tag there, which was literally garbage today. And I get lots of my ephemera and vintage stuff from this lady on Instagram called Mad Fox Studios. It's so fun. You just go on there, and usually every weekend she has this, you know, she goes, okay, here we go. And we all go shopping, and she shows different vintage stamps and tickets, and they're really, really reasonable. Okay, so that's going to go down now. I think I'll use a little stronger glue for this. And it still doesn't take anything away from the beautiful print from ARTZOLOGY. You guys need to go check them out. She's got some beautiful stuff over there. It's on Etsy. And check out her channel too. Okay, can you see the beautiful water spots there? And they're all dry and how they reacted? And those were also on the original print. You can see them there, but this just echoes that through and just brings it through. Okay, so there, I've got that down there. Now the next thing I want to glue on is this little tag here, which it's got vintage photo. I'm going to see if I can just put a little bit more on him. Trying to grunge this puppy up a little bit, crinkle him up a little bit, just so it looks like it's been around there. So we're going to glue that about here. I don't want to hide too much of my other things, you know. I have a flower here, a big flower down here, and a little teeny flower right in here. So like something like that without hiding our tag too much. Okay, so let's go and get our book now. Okay, so this is how it's going to look on the front. I love how this turned out. Love it, love it, love it. So I'm going to use gel medium to put on the back of, I think what I'll do is I'll put it on here because these things might fall off right now. They're not quite 100% dry. Just adding a little bit of water to this. That might help some of that hard stuff that's on the sides loosen up. I want to get my money's worth. This stuff's so expensive. Okay. Smeared on here. Can you hear that texture? Listen. Isn't that great? So I have about 1/4 of an inch frame of the book around. So I'm not going to go right to the bottom or right to the sides. So here is the finished Field Notes journal, all ready for my garden. I covered it with a light coat of Mod Podge, and so it's going to be waterproof. And I can't wait to fill the pages with the rest of this botanical collection from ARTZOLOGY. These pictures are so pretty, and I can't wait to fill up the pages. So I will come back as I'm working on this and fill up my journal so that you guys can see how it gets completed. So go check out ARTZOLOGY here on YouTube and at her Etsy store. She goes by the same name, ARTZOLOGY. So thank you, Deb, for this opportunity, and thank you even more so for these wonderful, beautiful pages to create with. I can't wait to finish up my journal. And thanks everybody for watching, and I hope you like it. Bye.